Hi, everybody. Welcome to math. As you can see here, we are starting our new chapter. So it's chapter 8, lesson 1, page 579. So please, if you do not already have your math book out, open to that page, then pause this video and go get your math book and open to page 579. I'll wait here till you come back. All right, great. So by now, you should have your math book out on page 579. And what we're doing today is a really cool new thing called function tables. And this is cool because it's kind of advanced and it works actually really good with programming and all sorts of things. So if you look on page 579, it says, a ruby-throated hummingbird beats its wings about 52 beats per second. 52 beats. So if you say 1/1000, they've already beat their wings 52 times. That's really fast. Make a table showing how many times this bird beats its wings in 2 seconds. And so they have that done for you here. Number of seconds 2, and this says S times 2, so seconds times 52, because it's 52 times a second, and then it gives you your wing beats. So let's look at another table that's sort of like, okay, so I just made this table, similar table to what you have in the book. So what they have is, we know that it's 52 beats a second. That's why I have 52 here, and that little dot means times, and that's S for seconds. So in 2 seconds, I would replace this S with this number 2. So this would be 2 times 52, which equals 104. Get it? And then if we look at number 2 in our book, it says, again on page 579, says, make a table to show how many times it beats its wings in 6 seconds. So if we change the seconds to 6, we're going to just replace this S now with a 6. So now this, we're going to write 6 times 52. So please write that in your book. Write 6 and the dot there. It's not a decimal. It means times 52. And I'll give you a few seconds to, figure it out. 6 times 52. All right. So hopefully you have figured out. Oh, here. Let's pause and I'll. All right. Hopefully you have figured out that if I do 6 times 52. 6 times 52. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 5 is 31. So you should have 312. You got it? You see how, so we're making a table here. This is called a function table. The function is S times 52. And then number 3 says, what if it's in 20 seconds? So under seconds, I put 20. And you guys, in your book, it just breaks these into separate tables, but it's the same thing. So now I'm gonna do 20 times, so 20 is the S, so S times 52, 20 times 52. So I'm going to write it out, 20 times 52. And look, if 2 times 52 is 104, 20 times 52 is just going to be 104 with an extra 0 at the end, right? 1040. And the last one is, let's read it out loud. Okay, so now we're on number 4 in our book. And it says, a giant hummingbird beats its wings about 10 times per second. Make a table to show how many times a giant hummingbird beats its wings in 3 seconds. Okay, so how many seconds? I don't know. I wonder if it said it somewhere in here. Beats its wings, oh, in 3 seconds. So I'm going to put a 3 here. And the formula here is, it says it's 10 times per second. So that's why the formula here is S times 10, not times 52, but times 10. This is a bigger bird, slower wings. And so if S is 3, now we're going to write 3 times 10. And hopefully you can do that in your head. 3 times 10 is 30 in 3 seconds. Get it? Great. Okay, so now let's go to page 580, the very next page in your book. So these are called function tables, the thing they're doing here. So let's read number 1. It says the output is 7 more than the input. 7 more. What kind of math problem is that usually? Give you a hint, it says it right here, plus 7. So if it's 7 more than the input, complete the function table of its relation. So here's input is that column and output is that column. And so if it's 7 more, so here's the input is 10, and then so that's also called x is the input, and then x plus 7, so it means that's going to be 10 plus 7, and 10 plus 7 is 17. Got it? You see how they have that right here? So if the input is 12, then x plus 7, or is 12 plus 7, which is 19. 14, you do 14 plus 7 is 21. Easy, right? Easy peasy. All right, so now let's go to the one that's right below it. And they don't give you all the answers here, but here it says the output is 5 times the input. Notice it says 5 times, not 5 more. So 5 times means it's going to be 5 times. So the function rule is 5x, right? Where x is the input. So if the input is 8, here the input is 8, it's going to be 5 times what number? Well, it's going to be times 8, right? And so the output, 5 times 8 is 40. Very good. And let's see if you can figure out these two. Ready, go. 5 times 10 is 50. 12. So it's 5 times 12. I put a 12 there. And 5 times 12 is 60. You guys get that? Great. All right, so now let's, at the bottom of page 580, I want you guys to do A and B on your own. Pause this video, and then we'll come back with the answer. So pause it, because otherwise you won't know what's going on. Ready, pause. Okay, welcome back. So hopefully we got this. So the first one here is 4. X minus 4, that means it's 4 minus 4, which is 0. This one, replace, so this, remember these are the x, so this would be 7 minus 4, which would be 3. This one would be 10 minus 4, which would be 6. Easy peasy, right? Now this one, notice, is 3x, right? That means 3 times x, and this is x. So this is going to be 3 times 0, which is 0. 3 times 2, which is 6, and 3 times 5, which is 15. Easy. Okay, now we're on page 581, on the next page. And now it's getting a little bit harder, right? Because the first things, those function tables were super easy. Now we have to do it backwards, right? So here they give you the output, they give you the formula or the function, and then you have to figure out what the input is. So if the output is 6, that means 3 times something equals 6, right? So we have to do the opposite. What's the opposite of times 3? Divided by 3, right? So what is 6 divided by 3 is 2, right? So and let's see if that works. Is 2, so if I do 3 now times 2, is that equal 6? Yes, it does. So now we do 15 divided by 3 is 5. Right? And let's see if that's right. So if 5 is x, 3 times 5, it does equal 15. 21 divided by 3 is 7, and 3 times 7 equals 21. So now it gets a little bit more complicated down below. Because look here, it has 2x and it has a minus 1. So you're having a times and a minus on here. Okay, so for these, you have to do the opposite of what it says, right? Because you're going backwards this time. So now this is 2x minus 1. So, and the output is 1. That means 2 times some number minus 1 is going to equal 1. Well, maybe you can do that in your head. Maybe you say, all right, 2 times 1 is 2 minus 1 is 1, right? So then that means the input would be 1. Right? So because 2 times 1 is 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, so and again, we're going backwards here. So here we have the output is 3. That means 2 times some number minus 1 equals 3. So let's do, since we're going backwards, let's do instead of minus 1, that's plus 1. That would give us 4. And instead of times 2, it's divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, right? So that means our input would be 2. And just to double check, so 2 times x, so it's 2 times 2 is 4 minus 1, and does that equal 3? Yes, it does. Okay, let's do the same thing here. 5, and now we have, instead of minus 1, we're going to do plus 1, which would give us 6, right? And then you have 6, 2 times, instead of 2 times 6, it's 6 divided by 2, which is 3, right? So that means you're going to have, 2 times 3 minus 1. 2 times 3 is 6, minus 1 is 5. So then 3 is the number that goes there. Complicated, huh? Yeah, I agree. All right, so see if you can do D by yourself. Maybe I'll do the first one with you. Okay, so you have 17 here, and this is 3x plus 2. Since we're going backwards, instead of plus 2, we're going to make this be minus 2, right? 17 minus 2 is 15, and then instead of 15 times 3, it's going to be 15 divided by 3, which is 5. So that means you're going to have 3, so that means 5 is going to be the x, and you're going to have 3 times 5 plus 2. And let's see, is that correct? 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. All right, pause the video and see if you can do these two on your own. Ready, go. All right, cool. And can I just show you another way that you can do this? So let's look at this one that we already did. We know that 3x plus 2 equals 17. So if I just write this over here, I could write it like this. 3x plus 2 equals 17, right? And we already learned how to do these kind of problems. We want to get the x's by itself. So how do we get rid of the plus 2? You do minus 2 and minus 2. 17 minus 2 is 15. And then you have 3x equals 15. How do you get rid of the times 3? You do divide by 3, divide by 3, and then you have x equals 5, which is the same thing we have here. X is 5. So there are more than one way to do it. Got it? Great. Let's look at the other two. All right, so now let's try the next one for 20 the same way. So we know that it's going to, let's see if I can make this both fit on here. So we know it's going to equal 20, and it's going to be 3x plus 2. 3x plus 2 equals 20. So same thing that we did before. How do we get rid of the plus 2? With a minus 2. And that cancels that out. But then you have to do minus 2 on this side. 20 minus 2 is 18. And then you have 3x equals 18. How do we get rid of that 3? Because remember, we want x by itself. Divide by 3. And then you have to divide by 3 here. And so these cancel out, and you have x equals 18 divided by 3 is 6. So then we come back here, and we now know that x equals 6. And so this is going to be 3 times 6 plus 2. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 2 is 20. Yay, it worked. All right, let's try the last one. All right, so let's do this last one. We see it's going to equal 29, and we have 3x plus 2 equals 29. So we're going to write 3x plus 2 equals 29. So pause the video and see if you can do this yourself. Ready? Pause. All right, did you figure it out? Well, let's try. We want to first get rid of the plus 2. We do that by doing a minus 2 and a minus 2. 29 minus 2 is 27. And so we bring the 3x down. 3x equals 27. We want to get rid of that times 3. So we do divide by 3. That cancels out. Divide by 3. So now we have x equals 27 divided by 3. We all know is 9. So now we come back to our book and we say, okay, x is 9. And just to make sure, we do 3 times x, or 3 times 9 plus 2. 3 times 9 is 27, plus 2 is 29. So we got it right. Very good.
All right, hey everybody. So let's try the guided practice now. And this, there's two problems in guided practice, and they're a little bit harder because one of them involves graphing. So it says, Isaiah is buying jelly beans. In bulk, they cost $3 per pound, and a candy dish that costs $2. The function rule, 3x plus 2, notice 3x plus 2 is there and there, where x is the number of pounds, can be used to find the total cost of x pounds of jelly beans and one dish. Make a table that shows the cost of buying 2, 3, or 4 pounds of jelly beans and one dish. So here's the pounds of jelly beans is x, and because it costs $3 per pound, so it's $3 times the number of pounds, plus $2 because you just buy one dish. So you're buying it for 2, 3, or 4 pounds. So now that means, so for 2 pounds, for 3 pounds, for 4 pounds, right? Okay, now pause the video and fill out this table. Ready, go. All right, so by now you should have filled out this table. So if x is 2, 3 times 2, so you can do 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8, so it should be $8, right? And then for this one, if x is 3, it's going to be 3 times x is 3, 3 times 3 plus 2, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. And then finally, if x is 4, we have 3 times 4 plus 2. 3 times 4 is 12, 13, 14. Got it? Great. Okay, so number 2 is a little bit harder because you're kind of doing it backwards and it has a graph on it. Jasper hikes 4 miles an hour. The function rule that represents this situation is 4x. See, 4x, where x is the number of hours. See, x is hours. Make a table to find how many hours, so that's the thing we're finding, how many hours he has hiked when he's gone 8, 12, and 20 miles. So here they're giving us the miles, and we have to figure it out. So we know that 4 times something is 8. Well, you could probably do that in your head, right? 4 times what is 8? Oh, it's times 2, and so that we know it's 2 hours. Got it? Let's do this one. So we know that 4x is 12. Now maybe you can do that in your head, but just in case, to get ready for when it's harder, you could also say that 4x equals 12, right? Because 4x equals 12, and divide both sides by 4, and you end up with x equals 3, right? So if x equals 3, then you do 4 times 3 equals 12. So just be clear, I showed you 2 different ways to solve that, and both of them are fine. And so let's do this the fast way. 20, and it's 4 times something is 20, so you should know that 4 times 5 is 20, and so it's 5 there. So your answers for this are, remember, you're looking for how many hours? Hours are 2, 3, and 5. So now we have to graph it. So it's the same thing where, remember, x goes side to side, y goes up and down. So 2 for hours, we're going to go over to 2 and then up to 8. So 2 and then up to 8. Oh, look, 8 isn't on here. So I know it's a little bit, it's between 5 and 10, a little bit closer to 10. So I put a dot there. Now see if you can graph the other 2 things on here, 312 and 520. Ready, go. Okay, so you should have gone over to 3 and then up to 12. So 3 up to 12 is a little below 15, about between 15 and 10. And then 5 and 20, I come all the way over to 5 and all the way up to 20. And you'll know you got it right because it is a straight line. If you have the dots, if you have like some dots here and then 1 dot's over here, that 1 dot is probably not going to be correct. All right, you got it? Great. All right, so that's the math lesson for today. Functions. Your homework is page 583 and 4, number 1 to 8. So do that today because tomorrow we will have a Zoom call for math help. So tomorrow at 10 o'clock a.m.,
look on Google Classroom for a link for, we'll go over the answers to the homework. And, oh yeah, maybe that's how you can turn it in too. Because I was thinking, how do you turn in the homework? But you can just hold up to the screen your homework and I'll say, yep, you got it. And that'll be really good. Pretty smart. Okay, that's all I have to tell you. Have a great day. Any questions, you can always email me, but tomorrow will be the Zoom call where I can give you live help. Okay, bye.